Think your mornings are hectic? Imagine waking up in a noisy, cramped apartment with bakers firing up their ovens, craftsmen hammering away, and no alarm clocks. Welcome to the morning routine of a non-elite Roman citizen. Life in ancient Rome began early, often before the sun even rose. Non-elite Romans, or the everyday people who weren't part of the ruling class, lived in insulae, which were multi-story apartment buildings. These weren't luxurious, and you could expect a lot of noise from your neighbors, from bakers starting their ovens to schoolmasters preparing for the day. Living in such close quarters meant mornings were anything but quiet. Breakfast, or as the Romans called it, ientaculum, was a no-frills affair. Most Romans didn't indulge in lavish meals. The average person grabbed bread, cheese, dried fruit, or olives. Things that were quick and easy to eat before heading out to work. Some even dipped their bread in watered-down wine. If you were lucky enough to be slightly wealthier, you might add fish, fresh fruit, or a touch of honey to your meal. But for the poor, it was often a pancake from the local bakery eaten on the go. Now, before rushing out the door, there was the matter of getting dressed. Most Romans wore tunics, simple and practical, made of linen or wool, depending on the season. The traditional toga, which we often associate with Rome, wasn't exactly popular with the everyday crowd. It was uncomfortable and impractical, unless you were attending formal events. And for the children, boys often wore a protective amulet called a bulla, while girls had the lunula. These weren't just fashion statements. They were believed to ward off evil spirits. Now, here's something interesting. If you were part of the lower social classes, your morning wasn't just about getting to work. You probably had to take part in a daily ritual called the salutatio. This meant visiting a wealthier patron, someone who had more influence, to pay your respects in exchange for favors like money or food. After paying your respects, it was time to navigate the bustling streets of Rome. Roads were packed with carts, vendors, and people on foot, and they weren't exactly well maintained. Depending on your job, you might stop by a thermopolium, Rome's version of fast food, for a quick bite before heading to work. These spots offered warm meals like stews and bread for those in a hurry. For women, mornings were busy too, but their roles often revolved around household duties. They frequently went to the market to buy fresh produce for the day's meals, sometimes accompanied by slaves if they could afford it. The markets in Rome were chaotic, filled with merchants selling everything from vegetables to spices. If you were wealthier, you could even have your food brought home using a lectica, a kind of portable chair. Let's not forget that many non-elite Romans were craftsmen, bakers, merchants, or soldiers. Their workday would start early and often end late, depending on their trade. For craftsmen, like blacksmiths or potters, the day involved creating and selling their wares. Bakers were up before dawn to ensure fresh bread hit the streets. And if you were a merchant, navigating the bustling markets was your daily grind. So, there you have it. The typical morning for a non-elite Roman involved a mix of practicality and tradition. From grabbing a quick breakfast, wearing simple tunics, and paying respect to patrons, life for the average Roman was all about maintaining social order while keeping the day's chaos in check. Thanks for watching. If you found this glimpse into ancient Roman life fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. And if you lived in ancient Rome, would you be able to handle their chaotic mornings? Let us know.